After marrying John Wilson, we moved into our new home. A place filled with sweetness and warmth. Sophie, John's younger sister, wanted to move in with us. But I politely declined. Angered, she stormed out and was tragically killed in a car accident. At the funeral, John grabbed my collar with bloodshot eyes and slammed me against Sophie's coffin. Lynn Wilson, my sister was such a wonderful person. Why couldn't you accept her? Why couldn't you die in her place? My blood stained the polished wood crimson. When I reopened my eyes, I found myself back at our wedding ceremony. John knelt before me, holding out a ring with adoration in his eyes. I smiled down at him. Since your sister's so perfect, maybe she should be the one marrying you today. My voice carried clearly through the stunned silence. After all, if she can't bear to live alone after we're married, who are we to deny her? The scene shifted violently in my memory, John's frenzied screams during that rain-soaked funeral. His hands tightening around my throat as my vision blurred with blood and lack of oxygen. This was the man who'd sworn eternal love at our wedding? The college sweetheart I'd supported through 8 years of struggles? The man I'd bankrupted my parents to fund? Lynn? Earth to Lynn. My maid of honor Sarah snapped her fingers, bringing me back to the present. The bridal suite's full-length mirror reflected my glowing complexion and pristine white gown, a stark contrast to the bloodied corpse I'd been moments ago. Getting cold feet now would be tragic after everything, Sarah teased. Remember how we all thought John was a charity case? You were the only one who saw his potential. My hands trembled as I checked my phone. Right on schedule. The incriminating photos arrived, John embracing Sophie in the rain. Their desperate kiss under a street lamp. This time, I forwarded every image to the wedding guests group chat before Sophie could play her final card. Let the Wilson family explain their twisted relationship to 300 horrified witnesses. As Sophie caught my eye across the venue, her triumphant smirk faltered. Oh yes, little sister. This time, we'll all burn together. The wedding march began playing as I held my father's arm, walking through the crowd toward the stage. John stood there in a black tuxedo, his phoenix-shaped eyes crinkling with barely contained eagerness. The guests chuckled when he practically jogged the last few steps toward me, his ears flushing pink even as his gaze turned tender. In my past life, I'd mistaken that look for love until the day he smashed my skull against Sophie's coffin with that same expression. Turns out those bedroom eyes could make even a stray dog feel special. Lynn. John knelt, the diamond ring trembling in his palm. Before you, my world was monochrome. You brought color, fragrance, sunlight. Your beauty outshines the physical. Your soul radiates purity. I vow to cherish, protect, and love you until my dying breath. I pressed a hand over my mouth, not to stifle tears but laughter. Last time, I'd sobbed through this farce. Now I watched Sophie dramatically collapse into Mrs. Wilson's arms across the aisle, her Oscar-worthy weeping shaking their pearl necklace family tableau. How touching. If by touching one meant that time I walked in on them Frenching behind the Christmas tree. Instead of offering my left hand, I grabbed the microphone. John, do you truly love me? With all my heart. His dimples appeared on cue, that panting melting baritone resonating through the speakers. Forever and always. Then explain where you were last Valentine's night after standing me up. The color drained from his face as his gaze darted to Sophie, now hyperventilating into a lace handkerchief. I had overtime. We discussed this. Baby. His smile turned plastic, the practiced contrition slipping back into place. I'll cut back on work hours. Promise. Special occasions are yours. The MC chuckled. Ladies, take notes, this is how you train a husband. The crowd ate it up. I traced my stiletto's razor-sharp heel across the stage. What if my training involves keeping your darling sister Sophie at arm's length? The slap echoed like a gunshot. My second strike left scarlet fingerprints on his cheek as the jumbotron behind us exploded with HD footage of John and Sophie's tongue tango behind his office blinds. Gasps erupted as the camera zoomed in on his obvious erection straining against tailored slacks. Mom materialized like a hurricane in Chanel. shoving John so hard he stumbled into the collapsing wedding cake. You diseased cockroach. My Lynn wiped your ass through pneumonia while you moaned about missing Sophie's piano recital. We mortgaged our home for your startup. Called in every favor so you'd look successful enough to propose. And this is how you repay us? Mr. Wilson scrambled on stage. Spittle flying. This is slander. The angle's misleading. John was merely steadying Sophie during her vertigo episode. The screen chose that moment to loop their 4K makeout session. John's hand visibly kneading Sophie's backside. Guests began filming. The Wilson family's resurrection from bankruptcy crumbling faster than their incest den's drywall. I smiled at Sophie's mascara-streaked gape. She'd banked on me swallowing this humiliation to save face. But the old Lynn died screaming in that mausoleum. This version brought napalm to a fireworks fight. As security tackled John's lunging father, my girls flanked me with flutes of champagne. We toasted to the live stream trending at #WilsonIncestGate while Mom auctioned off the floral arrangements to recoup our dowry. Some weddings end with I do. Mine? More like I'm done. If we're still blaming camera angles, then Mr. Wilson must think we're all fools. Mr. Wilson shouted furiously. Who's messing with the screen? Turn it off now. He then kicked John, who was still kneeling dumbly on the floor. Why aren't you explaining things to Lynn? You were just drunk that day. John snapped back to reality. His face pale. Lynn. This is all a misunderstanding. I had too much to drink and mistook her for you. I swung my arm and slapped him twice harder this time, splitting his lip, biting back tears. I choked out. John. How can I ever trust you again? When I asked about Valentine's Day, you lied about working overtime. When I begged you to set boundaries with your sister, you deceived me again. You can't keep exploiting my love like this. I'm human too. I grabbed my skirt and ran out. My girlfriends immediately following. Each took turns slapping John while yelling. You cheating snake. Hooking up with your own sister? Disgusting. Be a man for once, stay away from Lynn and pay back every cent she's ever spent on you. Our wedding was cancelled on the spot. Though Sophie got what she wanted. She bizarrely burst into louder sobs. When my parents returned home expecting to comfort me, they found us devouring barbecue and beer. That final slap was epic. My best friend cheered. We thought you'd never get over 8 years with John. But damn, you're ruthless. Shame though. Another added. You built half his empire but walked away empty-handed. I drained my beer, grinning wildly. What I elevated, I can destroy. Don't worry, I'll reclaim what's mine. Glasses clinked as they toasted. First you slay the toxic ex. Then conquer the world. Your glow-up era's just beginning. That night, John arrived with roses, pretending nothing happened. You'll regret this tomorrow. He cooed, reaching for me. Let me make you sober soup. I blocked the doorway, scoffing. Still addicted to your own act. John? He suddenly knelt. Give me another chance. Lynn. We've spent a third of our lives together. I'll cut all contact with Sophie. For the first time in 8 years. He looked genuinely desperate. Past me would have folded immediately. Current me? I clutched my stomach. Retching. No. Never. As I moved to slam the door, he grabbed my wrist for his signature dramatic wall pin, a move I'd once found romantic. This time, I projectile vomited across his designer shirt. Lynn. The germaphobe screeched, demanding to shower inside. I locked him out. Listening to his fading threats, you'll regret throwing away my olive branch. Pathetic. Over the years, while helping John build his empire, I also assisted my father in managing our family company, primarily handling sudden large orders from John's corporation. Since my parents weren't particularly ambitious, content with making $1 million annually, I transformed their complacent operation after taking over. I hired staff, opened new factories, and expanded with 10 additional production lines. My parents silently supported me with everything they had. My previous business connections from working with John mostly attended our ill-fated wedding reception. sympathetic to my situation. They eagerly signed cooperation agreements. I even poached my entire girl squad with lucrative offers to handle negotiations, granting them substantial year-end bonuses. Why build empires for men when we could stack paper together? After seizing over half of John's business and luring away a dozen key technical staff, he finally confronted me. Lynn, must you be this ruthless? John's suppressed anger simmered beneath his polished demeanor. His attempts to retain projects and talent had failed spectacularly. Most contracts originated from my negotiations, and my employee welfare programs outshone his identical salary offers. Lounging in my executive chair, I smirked. Just reclaiming what's mine. Where's the crime? His face darkened. You never cared about money before. When did you become so selfish? The classic gaslighting routine from someone who couldn't manipulate me anymore. My rose-tinted glasses had shattered, revealing his fragile ego that crumbled under pressure, his pathological dishonesty, and the toxic masculinity lurking beneath that gilded surface. How ironic that my devotion had once made this narcissist shine like a saint. And what exactly would selflessness look like to you? I rested my chin on interlaced fingers, watching hope flicker in his eyes. Mistaking my amusement for regret, John launched into his delusional demands. Return to my company tomorrow with all your technicians and projects. I'll graciously overlook their betrayal. Transfer your new factories to me since your aging parents can't manage them. Have your accountants deliver the financial records. My cash flow needs bolstering. Apologize to my family for that wedding fiasco you caused. Then fund and organize our redo ceremony. Oh, and personally invite every guest, no exceptions. Let me clarify. I interrupted, smile sharpening. You want millions in production assets gifted freely? Me groveling to your parents and Sophie? Plus financing your reputation rehab? That's the deal? Blind to my sarcasm, John beamed with misplaced confidence. Exactly. Lynn. This is how we've always operated. You funnel your family's clients to our company. Well, technically my company since you don't hold shares. But everyone knows you're the real power behind the throne. My love hadn't just gilded him, it had deified the bastard. Should I apologize to Sophie too? I casually unscrewed my thermos. He sighed dramatically. After that photo incident made my sister depressed from parental scolding? Definitely. Fuck you. The warm water hit his face like liquid justice. Throwing open my office door, I announced to gawking employees, drop everything. Witness this walking dumpster fire. This man cheated with his sister. Ruined our wedding. Now demands my multi-million-dollar company and an apology to his mistress. Oh. And his precious startup? Funded by my parents selling their home and stocks, yet he gave me zero equity. The grift never ends. A chorus of holy shit erupted. Has the world gone completely insane? Incest? Stolen startups? This is next level messed up. Since when did manhood require nothing but a dick? Brains and decency optional? John clawed tea leaves from his flushed face, charging at me. You lying bitch. My palm cracked across his cheek. Security footage is rolling. Should we trend this on Twitter? You're just a gold-digging whore. He spat. Wasted 8 years on you. Cold laughter escaped me. You mean 8 years of milking my family for millions? That line's mine. The mask finally dropped. You volunteered. Not my problem. My business partner stormed in, fury outmatching mine. We're done playing nice. My childhood friend's a viral relationship coach, 10 million followers. Let's destroy him. Anonymous exposure style. I agreed. Army of bots. Strategic leaks. Burn it all down. Make this predator pay. The discussion was in full swing when I cleared my throat. Sarah frowned at me. You don't object, do you? I chuckled. Of course not. I was thinking since live streaming's booming, maybe we could leverage the buzz your friend created and launch our own company stream? Their eyes immediately lit up as we began strategizing. Everything I'd given John before, I'd reclaim and climb to the top over his corpse. That afternoon, Lynn and I went shopping for our CEO's gift. Mastering corporate etiquette kept client retention high. "Miss, we just got new brooches. Care to look?" A neatly dressed salesgirl beckoned from a storefront. I'd already passed her when I backtracked. There was something familiar about her face. "Holy shit." My friend gaped. "Does John have another sister?" "She looks like him but softer." The salesgirl flushed under our scrutiny. Upon closer inspection, she resembled John's mother more, a carbon copy of Mrs. Wilson in her youth. After purchasing several brooches, I casually asked, "Do you know John Wilson?" She smiled shyly. "Yes. My mom worked as their housekeeper." My mind reeled. Mrs. Wilson had once confided that Sophie never bonded with her, preferring their housekeeper Lee Wan. "Testing the waters?" I asked. "Is your mother Lee Wan? You know her?" Her face brightened. Pursing my lips, I studied her. "Was she kind to you?" "She became nicer after I started earning money in college." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. My friend pointed at cigarette burn scars peeking from her sleeve as she wrapped our purchases. "Doesn't look like simple meanness. More like abuse." The girl stiffened but maintained professional courtesy. "That's in the past." At checkout, my friend exploded. I knew wealthy families had drama. But this? So Sophie's not really a Wilson? No incest angle? Damn. That's disappointing. I smirked. Don't underestimate this. If the Wilsons discover their real daughter was abused while an imposter lived lavishly, her eyes sparkled. "Lynn, you genius. Nothing beats rich families tearing each other apart." Next morning, I anonymously sent the salesgirl's details to Mrs. Wilson, planning to enjoy the fallout. But Sophie intercepted me at the office entrance. Furious. "You vicious bitch. I'll sue for defamation." Pulling up trending hashtags #wealthier incest scandal with our wedding photos and their rain-soaked kiss. I smiled. "Proof it's me?" "These photos only existed in our chat. Because of your leaks? John and I got death threats. You claimed to love him. You lying snake. Retract everything online and return his projects, or I'll bankrupt you in court." I coldly appraised her. Once thought clever, now pathetic. One photo proves nothing. "Consulted your lawyer yet?" Her face paled as she checked her phone. "Even if the lawsuit fails." She spat. "John hates you now. You've lost him forever. He said even if we could never be together publicly in this lifetime, he would still choose me without hesitation." "Lynn, you lost." I couldn't help bursting into laughter. Lose? This was more like blessings raining down while I sat comfortably at home. Being delayed by Sophie all this time made me miss the dramatic family reunion between Mrs. Wilson and the salesgirl. My girlfriends animatedly recounted the scene. They say mothers and daughters share a psychic bond the moment Mrs. Wilson locked eyes with that salesgirl. Both froze. Mrs. Wilson hugged her, sobbing "my daughter," while the salesgirl initially resisted and called her nanny mom over. When the nanny saw them, she collapsed on the spot. They called the police. Only after officers arrived did the nanny confess to the baby switching scheme. She'd insisted Sophie knew nothing. But they found texts where Sophie privately called her mom "game over." The nanny started kowtowing for forgiveness. We thought Mrs. Wilson was gentle. But when she saw the scars on the salesgirl's body, she nearly kicked the nanny across the room. The salesgirl tried intervening but got restrained by bodyguards. Total chaos. John finally stopped the circus, though he seemed thrilled about being with Sophie. But Mrs. Wilson absolutely refused, creating this huge rift. What a shame I missed the live drama. While the Wilsons imploded, my friends and I leveraged John and Sophie's trending scandal to launch our livestream debut. We preset product links as my friends roasted John and Sophie, occasionally teasing me as the ultimate loser. Authentic insider tea. Our viewer count hit 30K before we started promoting goods. $3 million plus sales on first stream, not top-tier numbers but solid for newcomers. That night, we reviewed metrics over dinner bonuses. Employees posted celebratory social media stories while our media team harvested content. We bought trending tags to boost visibility and started cloning successful streams. Strike while the iron's hot. With capital secured, I began undercutting John's company projects. Everyone knew he wronged me, so they cheered my poetic justice instead of criticizing. At a gala, I encountered John and Sophie. Her slight baby bump explained how she survived Mrs. Wilson's purge pregnancy with the Wilson heir. They rushed to get married that afternoon, no ceremony though. Too scandalous. While newspapers announced the found heiress demoting Sophie to adopted daughter, guests offered hollow congratulations while secretly mocking them. Live streamings for vulgar social climbers like circus performers desperate for cash. Sophie sneered nearby to some society wives. My etiquette tutor always said real heiresses never debase themselves publicly. Air dirty laundry like fishwives? That's how you spot new money trash. She smirked at me. When men leave women, maybe they should reflect on being too domineering? I sipped champagne leisurely. How self-aware of you to say that. Miss Wilson. I was talking about you. She snapped. Weren't you describing yourself? The one gossiping here? I countered. Live streaming's the future. These gentlemen and I are discussing collaborative projects with on-camera elements. Succeed. They'll call me Boss Lynn. Fail. They'll pity Miss Wilson. If I'd dated someone self-made or exceptional, I might question myself post-breakup. But with my ex? Let's just say I should have gotten glasses earlier. Hard to tell men from dogs when they're into incest. The crowd erupted in laughter. Particularly the self-made businesswomen who'd survived worse partners. Sophie tried throwing her drink at me. I dodged, drenching a teenage spectator instead. Serves you right for standing there. Sophie snapped. The girl slapped her. Nanny's daughter has no manners. Sophie retaliated. They were hair-pulling when John emerged from the restroom, his shocked face priceless. He couldn't comprehend how Sophie had managed to pick a fight at the gala within 5 minutes of his absence. Worse yet, this young woman happened to be the cherished only daughter of the billionaire he'd been courting for business, a girl raised overseas as the apple of her father's eye. This time, Sophie's luck ran dry. She lost the brawl, faced public humiliation, and tragically miscarried. John's golden opportunity to collaborate with the tycoon evaporated instantly, along with his last shot at redemption. My best friend crowed with schadenfreude, karma's a bitch. Now he's lost everything. I smirked. Frankly, I'd been strategizing how to wrestle this project from John's grasp. When fortune rains gold, you bring the damn bucket. 3 days later, I closed the deal and took my team celebrating, dinner followed by karaoke. As I approached our private room, neighboring doors swung open revealing John fawning over executives with whiskey tumblers, flanked by giggling hostesses. This from the man who'd once starved on instant noodles yet swore he'd never sell his soul for money. How the mighty grovel when they've tasted power. Sliding a stack of bills to the waiter, I obtained photographic evidence of John's escapades and forwarded it to Sophie. The enraged patient stormed in wearing hospital garb minutes later. John, how dare you? I'm recovering from our child's loss while you whore around. What business negotiations require strippers? As investors scowled at the scene, John slapped her. Sophie fled, clutching her cheek. He didn't follow, just tightened his grip on the hostess and kept pouring drinks. At checkout, a janitor tooted, poor thing got hit by some drunk rich kid's sports car. Dragged 20 feet. Third accident this month, messiest yet. Kids these days, partying in hospital gowns. John stumbled out screaming Sophie. Toward police scraping flesh pulp from asphalt. Turns out she'd been drunkenly darting between cars before the final collision. The heir who killed her paid 7 figures and took a plea deal. When John came crawling to me 3 days later, haggard, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, he collapsed to his knees. Lynn, I remember everything now. Let's fix this. Without Sophie, I need you more than ever. I finally see how you carried our business. I laughed. And you think you deserve me? He blocked my path, snarling, so I killed you once, get over it. Merge your company with mine. Take 30% stake. And quit whining. We'll have kids. You'll play housewife. From his pocket emerged a diamond ring still crusted with Sophie's blood. 8 years wasn't enough? I turned. Security already dragging him away. My livestream empire's newest investor, a venture capitalist offering $2 billion, was waiting. John. You disgust me. I spat those words before storming off. He tried to stop me, but his bodyguard restrained him. Through the rearview mirror, I watched his pathetic tantrum of rejection, slapping his own security only to get pinned face down on the pavement. Mutual combat. They call it. A month later, the Wilson family empire collapsed. Mrs. Wilson liquidated all her properties in secret before fleeing overseas with Sophie. Old Mr. Wilson took to his sickbed, begging my father for help through multiple failed attempts to get past our gates. John's golden boy persona shattered like cheap glass. This wasn't college anymore, no professors would bail him out this time. His pathetic startup attempts? I crushed every single one. Last I heard, he's running from loan sharks with 7-figure debts. My girlfriends and I road-tripped across 3 continents in my Panamera. On my company's IPO day, John chose his final performance art, swan diving from my corporate rooftop. His blood splattered across my cheek as he died with that grotesque rictus, clearly hoping to haunt my dreams. I wiped off the crimson streaks, smiling. This wasn't some trauma to endure. That splatter? My badge of honor. A phoenix rising from the ashes. Reborn through fire. John? That cockroach never stood a chance.